So, what happens when a single person, a doctor, decides to represent himself against a big legal team? Well, today we're going to dive deep into just one document, an urgent complaint sent straight to the district attorney. It's a really raw look at one person's fight for what he calls a fair shot in our legal system.
And just look at this. This is the actual subject line from his letter. Right off the bat, you know this isn't some minor issue. The language is so bold, so urgent, he's framing this not as a simple disagreement, but as a fight for his fundamental civil rights.
To really get what's going on here, you have to know who wrote this. It's a direct appeal from a Dr. Mohammed Fayad, and he's representing himself in court. Now, that one detail, that he's going it alone, is absolutely crucial to understanding the incredible pressure he's about to describe.
Okay, so let's break down the core of this dispute first. What is this legal battle actually about? Everything we're talking about is anchored to this specific case number. And that's important. It shows this isn't just a personal letter of frustration. Nope. This is an official document tied to a real formal court proceeding. That gives it some serious legal weight. And here are the players. On one side, you have Dr. Fayad, the individual. And on the other, a company, an LLC, backed by a whole law firm. You can already see the kind of power imbalance at the heart of his complaint, can't you? Dr. Fayad is acting in what's called pro per. It's the official term for someone who's navigating the whole complex court system without a lawyer. And as you can imagine, that is a huge challenge, especially when you're up against experienced legal pros on the other side. So this brings us to the real core of his complaint. It isn't just about the case itself. It's about the intense speed and pressure of the whole process. He basically describes it as a fight against the clock. Here it is. This is the heart of his argument. Dr. Fayad is claiming he's facing what he calls legal harassment. He's alleging that the other side is using the system's own rules, its own procedures, to completely overwhelm him. And this is what he means. These aren't just vague accusations. He's pointing to these very specific, very complex legal moves. Things like formal requests for documents and admissions that take a ton of work and legal know-how to answer correctly. He puts it so bluntly in his letter. He doesn't see these as just a standard part of the process. For him, they feel like a deliberate strategy, one that's designed to completely swamp his ability to even defend himself. So you might be asking, why the crazy rush? Well, it's because this case is what's known as an unlawful detainer action. It's a special, fast-tracked legal process that's used for evictions. That super fast timeline is a feature of the system, not a bug, and it's a critical piece of this whole puzzle. And here's what that fast track leads to. He was given just 5 days. 5 days to respond to all of those complex legal demands we just saw. I mean, let that sink in for a second. 5 days. For anyone without a legal team, that deadline creates an almost impossible amount of pressure. He really sums up the impact perfectly with this quote. In his eyes, you take those complex demands, you add that incredibly short deadline, and you create a situation where a fair defense becomes, well, nearly impossible for one person to pull off. And this is where the story takes a really significant turn. Dr. Fayad lifts his complaint beyond just a simple landlord-tenant issue, and he frames it as a fundamental problem of civil rights. This shows you exactly how he's reframing the whole thing. See, a normal lease dispute is just about a contract, right? But Dr. Fayad is arguing that this has become something way bigger, a fight for fair treatment and protection from a much more powerful opponent. And he's basing his claim on this massive legal principle called due process. It's a cornerstone of our justice system, and it basically guarantees everyone a fair shot. It's your right to be heard and to defend yourself properly, and he claims that right is being denied. And this really gets to what's at stake for him. You know, this isn't just some abstract legal argument. He's fighting for his home, for his personal property. He's fighting for his basic rights to housing and privacy, and he believes all of it is under direct threat. So, after laying out the whole problem and what's at stake, the letter makes its final move. It's not just a complaint, it's a direct call for action. It's a plea for the authorities to step in. He doesn't just list all his problems and leave it there. No, the whole reason he's writing to the district attorney is to formally ask them to intervene and take very specific actions. And here are his 3 requests laid out crystal clear. Number 1, halt the eviction right now. Number 2, make sure his belongings are safe. And number 3, and this is maybe the most important one, Grant him what he sees as justice. Just give him more time to build his defense. In the end, this entire document, this entire story, really boils down to this one big question. It forces all of us to think about the balance of power in our own legal system and what fairness really means when one person has to stand alone against an entire institution.